Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the State of the League podcast. You're now tuning in to the second episode of the week. It's a free episode this week. It might not be in the future. We're probably gonna move it to Patreon, and so I'll release details for that in the fucking future. But for today, it's free. You get to hear all of our thoughts on the Western Conference. It's me, Jack, aka JokicJoestar. I would be shocked if you found this without realizing that's who hosted it. Joined as always by the world famous PabloEscoball, my co-host. We already talked about how we're doing in the East episode. That's already out. So, you guys don't get to know if you're just listening for the West. If you're not here for all of our coverage, then you can honestly leave. Turn it off right now.
We hate you.
We hate you, and you're a bad person. You're morally corrupt. You have no values. Pablo, what do you think about the San Antonio Spurs? I think that's a good question to start with the Western Conference.
All right, so the state of the league. So the state of the Spurs, they're in a state of waiting because you have Wemby, he's good. Rest of the roster not very good. So you're living off crumbs right now of, oh my God, did he dunk off 2 steps from the half court line or whatever? Oh my God, the other team's announcer said he's really good. Oh my God, Jokic said, oh, he's going to be good someday. So that's you're living off crumbs. Will there be a Keldon Johnson trade? Will there be any kind of trade? Um, the Trey Johnson or what's his name?
Trey
Trey
Jones.
Jones. Trey Jones. The Trey Jones pairing with Wemby, will it be historic, just like the points per possession numbers are right now, or whatever? We'll see, but you don't know today. You gotta wait.
You do have to wait. I think that's a fair analysis of the Spurs. I would have them in a similar spot. Spurs, I probably have them in a state, maybe like Wembmania. That's really all there is to do down there, just in terms of Devin Vassell's fine. Sohan's fine, but it's so frustrating to watch the Spurs and see how they treat Wembanyama just as a cog in the machine instead of clearly what should be the focal point of the offense and maximizing the things that he is able to do that nobody else on the floor can. I don't know why they're just doing that now. The Sohan point guard experiment, it was fun while it lasted. Getting Trey Jones out there is a little bit more traditionally fun in the sense that you see him do cool shit that involves Wembanyama instead of doing a fadeaway that Wemby maybe gets the rebound on or something. Yeah, I saw Trey Jones throw Wemby a lob. That's really all there is to talk about the San Antonio Spurs. They
Oh,
stink.
I just remembered something. LaMarcus Aldridge, he got on the All the Smoke podcast. Have you seen his clips from there? He was talking about the Spurs. He
What did
said
he say?
he said Wemby needs a go-to move, and it was kind of funny listening to him talk because you know how you can always NBA players are they see basketball through their own lens. So for example, if you ask LeBron about rookie Ben Simmons, he's like, "Oh, this guy's going to be a great player," and it's because Ben Simmons plays like him. Like every NBA
Yeah.
player loves the players who play like them. It's funny in that podcast. I've only seen the clips. I haven't listened to the whole thing, but in the one clip, LaMarcus Aldridge is like, Wemby needs a go-to move. Like right now, he's just kind of floating. He's kind of dribbling a lot, taking all these shots. What he really needs is one sharpened tool, one sword out the sheath. He didn't say that, but he really needs just one go-to move that he can go to in the fourth quarter. That's like a reliable well for him to score with, and it's very obvious. And he's like, for me, that was the fadeaway. And then later, they're asking him. They're doing one-word responses to players, and they're like, Dirk Nowitzki, just 1 foot fadeaway. And then they said another player. Crap, who was it? It was another West big man, and he's like one who wasn't even, I feel like, super known for the fadeaway, but he's like that type of fadeaway. Like you see what kind of
Just
fadeaway
stuck in his
everyone had, and
brain.
I'm like, this guy's entire NBA viewpoint is through fadeaways. He's like, who can do fadeaways like me, and is my fadeaway the best fadeaway? But they talked about some Kawhi stuff. They're like, "Hey, why'd Kawhi leave?" And he said, "Oh, he said the So Steven Jackson said that the number one reason Kawhi left was because of Tony Parker. And so, do you remember what Tony Parker did back when he was there in the
Are we
final
talking about
season?
when he fucked his teammate's wife, or is
No,
this
this is
something
after with Kawhi. With Kawhi.
I don't
So
remember that?
basically, Tony Parker had this kind of injury. I forget what kind of injury this was. Let's say it's like a hamstring or something. So Tony Parker goes out with this injury. He comes back. Kawhi gets the same injury and he's out for longer than Tony Parker was. And so Tony Parker goes to the media and he's like, yeah, he's still out. I don't know why he's still out. I had that same injury and I came back quicker. And so then Steven Jackson was like, that's what made him want to leave. That's what pushed him out the door. And LaMarcus Aldridge was like, hey, listen, I'm not saying anything. So I don't know if that confirms it or not. And LaMarcus, one of them, I forget if it was LaMarcus or Steven Jackson. They also said, I feel like it was LaMarcus, where he's like, he wasn't interested in Popovich real life teaching stuff. I think he said he wasn't interested in the maps. He wasn't interested in that whole thing. I'm like, the maps? Is he showing him maps? But yeah, they got a little bit of Spurs lore there. Shout out to LaMarcus
Yeah.
Aldridge.
I like the tidbit about him viewing everybody through their fadeaway jumper. 'Cause it's like he's watching Sengun tape, and Sengun just like the wide open one leg fadeaway, and LaMarcus is like, hell yeah, and then but then he pump fakes and does like a crazy spin move into a dunk over two guys, and LaMarcus is like, it's not, that's gonna fail you in the playoffs, buddy. Like,
He
you
sees
need to
Wemby's
sharpen that.
arm. He sees Wemby's arm goes up. He's like, that might be able to get my fadeaway. He's a really good defender.
He's
um,
really good. Holy
but
shit! I need to do some angles.
yeah, one more thing is, I think the Pistons might be the best thing that ever happened to the Spurs because
Mm.
they're 5-27 right now. The Pistons are 3-30. If the Spurs were at the bottom right now, I feel like all the hate that Cade Cunningham has got would be on Wemby, and it would just be magnified 1,000 times more. They'd be like the great French bust. We should have known he'd be waving his white flag. That's what they do, and so they got to be thankful for Detroit's existence.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's true. They probably are, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's a testament to how good Wemby is that he's survived all of this without like getting that oh, the fucking French, oh my god, they're horrible. He's a bust. I can't believe it. Just because like to have that take. To have that take with Cade Cunningham, you can throw on a Cade game, and like when they got the shit kicked out of him by the Rockets last night, you can throw it on and be like, what's the hype with this guy? He's
Yeah,
just not
he's
good,
not
man.
fast.
Literally. But you throw on a Spurs game where Wemby gets like 25 minutes, you sit down and watch the whole thing, or you even catch like the highlights, you're like, holy
This
fuck,
guy's big.
that guy is, how is he moving through space like that? That's really scary. And so yeah, I think it's a testament to how good he is that he's not having that happen to him. But I do think the French are quick to surrender, and I think that's been their Achilles heel for a long time. And Ambassador, if you're listening to this, I'll say that to your fucking face. Let's go, pal.
Shout out Macron.
Portland.
You got groomed by your wife. All right.
Oh shit. Okay. Portland Trailblazers. I have them in a state of sneaking. They're sneaking around because they're sneaky fun to watch now that Anthony Simons is back. I don't have
Like
their
Utah from Jujutsu Kaisen. Shout out to those who
yes.
understand.
He's a
one.
sneaker. He's sneaked up white boy. And so yeah, since Simon's been back, I don't have their record. I know they have a couple good wins. I think they beat the Suns and they beat the Kings as well. And yeah, they're just fun to watch. The offense is a little bit more free flowing. There's more shot creators. It's taken pressure off of Scoot Henderson, who's been pretty impressive as well. He had a couple doubles with points and assists. He's the only rookie to do that so far this season. And so yeah, Portland, Yeah, if you can catch like the first half of a game before it really turns into a blowout, yeah, they're a fun team to watch. And they're surprised. Like Simons is a clutch scorer. If you get into a close game, I would not want to like be going back and forth with him. He's been really good. So yeah, Portland's sneaky.
Yeah, I have them in a state of patience. They just gotta let the young guys unfold. They're 2-2 in their last four. Scoot is finally turning it up. Still not quite where the expectations put him, but the expectations were too high for year one. But his passing looks good. His burst is looking better. I saw someone say, "Oh my God, he's going to be an elite defender because he took a bump to the shoulder and slid with the guy once." So they got things to be excited about. Anthony Simons is really, really good. He is one of the best shooters in the entire league. It's very, very special to be able to shoot off the dribble like he does. The one piece of his game that I think he has to, if you think he's going to be a star, if you want him to be a future star, he's got to get the rim finishing ability up, the ability to get to the rim, draw free throws, and finish there. That'll be the piece to unlock star potential. But if he never gets it, he's already a really, really good player. Probably got to be better defensively, though. And then Matisse Thybulle, he's up there in steals and deflections, I think. So they got some things going on. It's not all doom and gloom.
It's not all doom and gloom. I like that. For Washington State, it can feel like that sometimes. So guys, if you're looking for a little bit of a pick
They're in
me up, go.
Oregon.
Oh shit. Well, I mean it's rainy and gloomy there.
Same
Whatever. Who
exact
cares?
thing.
Oh my god. He's like, I don't know. It's like Kansas and Nebraska or something. It's the same thing. Come on.
Oh, Kansas City's in Missouri. What a
Holy
team.
shit. You're a fucking geography guy. You've been hanging out with Popovich, all these maps.
Oh my God, I've spent so much time in city data forums trying to find the best place to live that has the best weather, the lowest cost of living, and the best public transportation. And so, spoiler alert, it's not available to you if you're in the United States unless you're rich, but there's plenty of places available abroad. I can't give out all my spots. I have one clear number one spot. That is the best. It is literally paradise on earth. It's cheaper than Indianapolis, Illinois, which is not an expensive American city. It's cheaper than that. It has 70-degree temps year round. No crime, no dangerous animals or anything. I can't tell you guys what that spot is, but I mean, looking at Bilbao, Spain, pretty good.
Okay. Damn. Bilbao, Spain. We'll check that out. You 70-degree. I don't know. Like I like the cold. I like cold. I
I'm a
like my
cold
hoodies.
hater. I'm a cold hater.
Damn. All right. Understandable. Moving on to Memphis, who's gone a little cold since their hot start with Ja Morant's return. They lost back-to-back games. I think probably like 4-2 in their last four because they won a bunch, won four in a
1-3.
row. Okay. And then they lost to the Kings. They lost to the Clippers. They got fucking nuked by the Kings. Ja played pretty poorly. Understandable. It's kind of more surprising to me that he looked so good right off the bat for 4 straight games after 8 months off from professional basketball. And so, like, for a little while, any bad games he has, even though he's proven that he can, like, play at the level we expect him to, I'm just going to be like, he's been off for a while. Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? He's fine. But yeah, Grizzlies pretty clearly like in a separate tier of the rest of the teams around them right now. It's just like the gap is probably too much to make up. But like, yeah, I don't know. All the other teams down here are bad. The Grizzlies were bad. Now they're good. Not great, but good.
I have them in a state of reality check. They're getting a reality check. Because when Ja came back, they're like, okay, this is easy. Ja Morant on your team wins games, but it's not that easy. He looks very, very good. But yeah, they're probably too far gone to do anything this year. Their fan base is officially falling in love with Marcus Smart. And also Vince Williams Jr. He's a lockdown defender for them. So there's some things good in Memphis, but it's probably a foregone season. Ja Morant called a reporter a hoe, but they didn't report on it. So, but now we know. Why did they tell us? I don't know. But
I don't know. Beats me.
Or not
Um,
a report. He called a referee a hoe. But in his defense, the referee was probably being a hoe. I mean, call it like you see it. So.
that's referee behavior. What was? Oh yeah, falling in love with Marcus Smart the second he gets like ball distribution responsibilities taken off of his shoulders, and it's like, oh, I don't have to be like a primary shot creator or distributor or initiate the offense anymore. I get to do my Marcus Smart business. That makes sense. Yeah, it's easy to love Marcus Smart when he's doing shit like that. When you're asking him to like really be like a fulcrum of the offense, it gets a little bit, my relationship with him gets a little bit shakier. So, yeah, it's good to see Memphis. It makes sense that he fits in Memphis. If his health maybe was a little bit more durable, if he was like himself several years ago, maybe we could see a Tony Allen type renaissance in
Mm.
here, how he got sent to Memphis and was just like, fuck you guys. I'm the culture here now. But yeah, Marcus Smart's good. Memphis is good, but this season they're probably getting a pretty high draft pick, all things considered.
Yeah, could be
Um,
worse.
yeah, could be worse. You could be, I don't know, like bad, but competing for the play-in and like, I don't know, employing
Also,
Andre
John
Drummond.
Morant. So he made a game winner against the Pelicans, his first game back, and then
Mm-hmm.
did he throw? He threw a game winning lob against them a few games ago that they won. So what they're probably pissed. They're like, man, if 25 games, couldn't it have been 30?
Yeah, they probably are. I had to, but don't get me wrong. I have a couple bullets on the Pelicans Grizzlies relationship a little bit further up my list. But first, we got to talk about the Book of Mormon, Utah. I have them in a state of surprise. Surprisingly, I don't know, not good, but like as someone who has not been tapped into Utah basketball season, looking in, I was like, oh shit. 5 of their last 6, and they're 3-1 in their last 4, including wins over the Mavs, the Heat, and the Raptors. That's pretty surprising for a team that is still, again, bad. They just beat Luka and Kyrie by 37 points, and so that's fucking crazy to me. How you feeling about Utah?
So the Jazz are 3-1 in their last four. They're in a state of invincibility, and do you know why that is? It is because Ice Bryce Sensabaugh made his official NBA debut. He touched the court. He played for 2 minutes. Did he take a shot? No. Did he make an assist? No. Did he get a rebound? No. Did he do anything? No, because it was only 2 minutes. It was 0-0-0 stat line all the way around. But that's the kind of impact that he has on the franchise. 3-1 in the last four because everyone believes he's like a Batman, except if Batman was actually helpful instead of just a psychotic guy beating up poor people. Everyone believes I can be Bryce Sensabaugh one day, maybe, if I just had limitless confidence. And so they're getting closer and closer to realizing who their best player is, getting closer and closer to realizing if we play him, we'll be undefeated. Maybe they won't do that because they're worried about the draft. They want to get a higher pick. They want to
Yeah.
trade Laurie. I think is John Collins in trade rumors again.
Yes.
So they want to blow it up. So it makes sense why they're not bringing Bryce up, because that's then like you try and blow it up, then you find yourself in June in the finals, and you're like you got to pay for all this travel and stuff. So I understand why they're not bringing him up in that respect. But yeah, if I'm them, I would sell high on Laurie right now. I feel like this is one of those lulls where there's not a true superstar available on the trade market, and so you might be able to get a package for Markkinen that you're not going to get at different times if Joel Embiid is on the market or if somebody
Mm-hmm.
comparable is on the market. So if I'm them, I'm fire sale, get everyone out of here.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I'm surprised they didn't do more of it last season, to be honest. Shout out Kelly Olynyk for getting the job done against the Pistons. What the fuck are you doing in Utah still? Like you are a guy who should exist on good basketball teams, fucking doing like weird dirty plays, falling over all the time. Why are you
You
in
should be
Utah?
in the
Yeah,
East.
yeah. I agree with the Laurie piece. I do think it's like a very well suited moment for him, especially because there's suitors like off the top of my head, Oklahoma City, Sacramento, and Golden State all seem like different calibers of ready to shake up their roster, but all of them would like welcome and make a serious pass at trading for Lauri Markkanen. And that would not be the case if there was like if the Dame shit hadn't worked out and Giannis signed the extension. If that guy's looming, Lowry is just going for like a couple picks or something like this fucking bum. Oh my god. But yeah, right now he's the cream of the crop as far as like upgrading your roster goes. So I think selling is smart on him. Also shout out to Jordan Clarkson, first triple double in Jazz history since 2008. And I was like, well, if you play
Whoa.
Bryce a little sooner, maybe
Yeah,
that should
I
would have. I don't know.
literally. Oh my God, check his assist numbers in the G League. Who was it in 2008? Was it Darren Williams or was it Kirilenko?
It was Carlos Boozer.
Really? He
It
got
was
the
Carlos
assist.
Boozer with a triple double. That
Shout
made me
out to
laugh so
Carlos
hard.
Boozer. Ooh, I wonder if he conceived Cam Boozer on that night, and that's why he's a good passer. No, 2008. How old are people born in 2008? Um,
Probably like 16.
no, he's a little old. So maybe he probably conceived Cam Boozer on a later night. That's my official
Okay,
decision.
maybe Cam
Earlier,
Boozer.
earlier night.
Yeah. Maybe he was in attendance that night. He was like, "Fuck, Dad, this
Ah,
passing stuff's really good. I'm gonna work on this." Oh my god,
nice.
your little elbow jumper is getting phased out of the game, pal.
Do you know about his sons that he has twin sons and one is 6'8" or 6'9" and the other 6'2"? I imagine that.
Are you
Yeah,
serious? Oh,
yeah,
I'd
it's
be so
crazy.
mad. Oh my god, damn. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, 6'2" is a great height to be if you don't want to play professional basketball, but if you're
Yeah, but
like
he does play and what's it called? And then his brother's like it's like Cooper Flag and then it's like Cam Boozer in terms of height. So he's
damn.
probably like if I had those inches, man, I'd be better than him.
Yeah, it's like Keegan Murray, Chris Murray looks
Oh yeah.
exactly like him, and they play
Yeah.
pretty similarly
Oh
too.
my God. They
It's just
look
like
identical.
6'9" versus 6'3" or 6'4" or whatever Chris is. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
How
just
did
the
how
way
did
the
Cam Boozer not eat his brother in the womb? That's what I want to know.
that's his brother should be thanking God that he's
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah,
That's
you
my
made it
takeaway
out.
from it all.
Ba-
Jeez,
Basketball's a blessing.
in the womb with a fucking elephant baby, just like getting kicked in the head every day. I'm surprised more's not wrong with you, pal. All right. Speaking of things that are wrong, the Warriors. I have them in a state of nostalgia. We're looking back on the
Mm.
good old days, and we're recognizing, I still have this photo album. The shit's I didn't recognize when I was in it. I took it for granted. I thought it was always going to be this way. I could take this guy that needs a couple years to develop. I could draft him because it's going to work out and he'll be good by the time these guys are bad and it'll all be fine. Now we're here. We're in the dark days. All my friends have abandoned me and I'm fucking
My
praying to
uncle's in jail. That's Draymond Green.
oh shit, yeah, he is, and I don't have bail money for him, and so I'm just like throwing the ball to Brandon Podziemski, being like, "Dude, cook, please," and that's my
Oh
bright spot right
yeah.
now. And I'm reminiscing on Sean Livingston mid ranges and the like. What do you feel about Golden State?
Yeah, they're 1-3 in the last four. I said they're in a state of torch passing because Brandon Pajimski and Trace Jackson Davis, they look solid they look pretty good for rookies, and they are older rookies, and this was expected. This was what was supposed to happen. This what I said was going to happen, so I'm literally a genius. But yeah, they are looking like two guys who will be valuable players for this team going forward. But will the stars align? Will Klay Thompson find himself? Will Draymond Green find himself at the same time that Brandon Pajimski and Trace Jackson Davis find themselves? Steph Curry always finds himself. He always knows where he is. He's 5,000 feet away from the nearest poor person. That's where he is. And so they are in a tough spot because Steph is still so good. They have these promising young guys, but it feels like the sand is dripping out of their hands. They're trying to grab it, but they can't do it.
Yes. The last three have not been particularly nice for Steph. 19 points and 5 assists on 44% true shooting. It's
Oh,
tough. And I think Their previous 4 games really lend credence to my theory that in the modern NBA, anybody is going to get 10 points per game if they play. Because you look at all the box scores and you're like, oh shit, Warriors had 6, 7, 8 guys in double-digit scoring, and then you're like, okay, well, that's not really that much if they're all at like 12 points per game on 45% from the field or what have you. Like you said, Pods has been good, 13, 8, and 6 with 2 steals on 70% true shooting in the last 4.
Whoa.
Very solid. He's been good. He's been good. He's been shooting good. He's been defending. He's locked in. He's crazy. White boy of the year. They always seem to spring
spicy.
up. Kind of ice spicy with that little red fro. Okay.
She has a secret boyfriend. I wonder if he's in play.
Damn. Is he the Munch, the titular Munch?
Oh,
to be determined.
Ask him. Everyone tweet at him. Are you a Munch? Are you the Munch?
Hey, are you a Munch? All right. Klay Thompson, 13 points per game, 51% true shooting. Kuminga, 12.5 points per game, 55% true shooting. Chris Paul, largely ineffective in 3 of the games, but then against Dallas, close game, 24 points and 6 assists on 86% true shooting. So, yeah, I mean, not surprising. I'm not going to hold Chris Paul to the same standards that I'm holding Klay Thompson and Kuminga to. You hope to squeeze the last gas out of Klay Thompson in this season. Me personally, I think it's already been squeezed out of him. But Chris Paul, yeah, I didn't have high hopes for him coming into the season. He can run a backup unit, fine, but if you're looking for like serious 4th option caliber contributions, it's not going to come from Chris Paul.
# free Moses Moody. I don't know what he did to get locked up, but free him.
Teach him Mandarin, man. And Steve Kerr, fuck. Whoa, get out there. Holy shit. All right. Moving on. Houston, the Houston Rockets. It's crazy to me that they're this low in the standings, to be honest. They're such a surprise team of the season. 1-3 in their last 4, just lost to 76ers without Embiid. It was that big Tyrese Maxey game, 42 points. They also got blown out by the Suns, and they lost to the Pacers too. Interesting. They have not won or lost a single game in a row this season. Everything has been at least back-to-back wins or losses. Their current 3-game skid is coming off back-to-back wins over the Pelicans and the Dallas Mavericks. I have them in a state similar to Orlando. Youthful angst, I think, is a good term for it. It's hard. A little more veteran leadership in the locker room, but yeah, pretty young.
They're like the Superhawks, which is boom, boom, win, loss, whatever. They have, I said they are in a lethargic state. Alperen Şengün, all-star buzz, so that is pretty cool. But they've fallen off from the top of the West, looking like not going to be their year. Just got to have some spunk, I guess. Hopefully, Jalen Green is not playing fantastic. I see a lot of people saying that he's not feeling too well about it either. Shout out to Tari Eason's mom on Twitter. Great Twitter follow. She's always tweeting Tari Eason propaganda as well as Şengün propaganda. She said, I went to the tunnel after the game. I put my arms around Jalen Green. I told him it'll all be all right. And so what a great Twitter follow. Cam Whitmore finally got some minutes. But yeah, this team is fading, but they're young, they're talented, and hopefully they figure something out.
Yeah, I think my big concern lately is that all 3 of these losses were giving up 120 points at home. Oof. 2 things that were kind of like the hinge of their good start to the season being very good defense when they were playing at home. They're just like they're the 10th ranked defense through the second half of their season, combined with being the 19th offense in the same span. It's just not a recipe for winning basketball. You could survive that caliber of offense if you're a great defense, but if you're just like pretty solid defensively, yeah, you're gonna fall fairly quickly. I will say it does, like, they're trending towards the team I expected them to be coming into this season. And I don't think that's like the worst thing in the world for them to be. I thought they were going to be around an 11 seed and 11 seed, 12 seed, maybe a little lower. Maybe I didn't know ball coming into this season, but yeah, they overachieved to start, and that's good and it's cool. It's nice to see what the ceiling of this team looks like, but I think it's probably smart to prioritize developing your younger players, getting them touches, and not freaking the fuck out if you're not like in the playoff hunt this season. Being in the play-in would be nice. I wouldn't want to play them. That's not true. They'd probably be my pick if I could take anybody in the play-in tournament, just because you're going to be going up against like an all-time great player if you take any other team, most likely.
Oh
So yeah,
yeah.
I'll go up against Shangoon and I'll take the Mama Issa timeline hate afterwards. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Let's see. Who Oh wait, where's my
Next
so
up, it's the
moving
Lakers, I
down
believe.
from Texas over to the West. For the Lakers, I
Okay.
have them in a state of anger. Um, Loss versus Boston on Christmas, win versus Charlotte, loss versus Minnesota, loss versus Pelicans. They had the controversial ending against Minnesota. Was it a 3? Was it a 2? What do you think?
Um, dude, honestly, it's one of like it's probably the closest thing that I've ever seen live. So I don't have any problem with them sticking with the originally ruled call. Uh, I think if they had called it a 3, I would have been fine with them going to the like the review and being like, fucking 3. We said it was. I don't know what to do. I think the bigger that 3, Jared Vanderbilt is so lucky that shit happened because the possession before, he had a wide open layup off a LeBron drive, and he didn't just miss it; he airballed the layup over the hoop and got his own rebound and got called for a traveling violation and turned the ball over.
Oh,
And so, yeah, I've been on a
playing
little
like
bit of
me.
a no shit. I mean, it was seriously like a Shaq in the Fool moment, and I've been on a bit of I won't call it an anti-Vanderbilt specific movement, but I like a anti-Vanderbilt player movement where in today's NBA, having somebody who can just get completely ignored by the defense is really hard to justify playing, and like you're going to be lucky to break even on that if they're an elite defender. So yeah, it was tough. I think that was symbolic of how shaky the supporting cast has been so far this season. And well, what do you know? LeBron's one of the best players in the league. AD's looking like a DPOY candidate. He has nights where he looks like he could take the reins from LeBron as LA's number one option. And the supporting cast needs to get shaken up at the trade deadline. Time is a flat fucking circle with the Lakers.
I'll tell you what they really need is just like a really explosive two guard, somebody who could dunk, like maybe Ben in dunk contests, somebody who can make threes, somebody who is familiar with LA, like maybe they played at UCLA in college. I don't know. With Zach Levine is available, maybe I think they should trade for Zach Levine or DeMar DeRozan or Alex Caruso or anybody on the Bulls roster, maybe even Vucevic. They need someone. Um, LeBron and AD, they're very good. They need help. The Bulls are the guys who have the help. Give up all your picks. And maybe Austin Reeves. Maybe you give up Austin Reeves in a trade for Zach Levine. I don't know. But yeah, I'll tell you what, the 3-pointer, or I think it was I think his foot was behind the line, but Minnesota fans are like showing this one screenshot and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
look, they're not showing this angle. Clearly it was on the line, but even in that picture I'm like, I don't know, guys, but honestly, it's not a battle I'm going to be fighting. They they yeah, I think I'm getting less and less confident in the Lakers being top line contender. They did win the in-season tournament, so the season is already a success. But as far as the postseason, I don't know.
Yeah, as far as those dusty old playoff accolades, everyone's got those. Nobody's got that in-season tournament ring. So, yeah,
Hmm.
they got that out of the way. We can all breathe. They can breathe easy. But yeah, in terms of, I don't know, crazy how essentially right now it looks like they're going to need another run like they had last year after the trade deadline, where they did a 180 into being one of the better teams in the league pretty much overnight, and were like a really good team and won out the rest of the season and got like, I don't know, went on a run all the way to the conference finals. Feels like a roided up version of what the Heat have been on for the past several seasons, except instead of relying on like a foundation of depth and defense and role players and a couple guys who are really durable. You're looking instead at like Anthony Davis, who is good, but like, I don't know, 2 straight months of health is not a sure thing from him. And then 39-year-old LeBron, who you are relying more heavily on than ever, it feels like, to be an offensive engine, both in terms of getting to the rim, distributing the ball, and being your team's most effective 3-point shooter. It's like him and Reeves, and they're both extremely streaky. And yeah, it just doesn't fill me with confidence to watch the Lakers these days.
Yeah, the only trade that they can make that'll spark that second half run is Zach LaVine. So if I were them, I'd get on it. I'd trade for it.
Yeah. Done. Call up Garpax. Is that who's at the top in Chicago still? It is
No,
very
we have
who
Acme, AKME. Arturas Karnisovas, former Nuggets guy who supposedly found Jokic. And then Mark Eversley, former something for Toronto. But you know what? They're every bit as mid as Garpax was. So
perfect. It is very funny to be begging Los Angeles for like draft capital. The Lakers draft capital flush with it right now. That's why people are mocking up so many good trades for them. It's just like, yeah, they got so many picks to throw around and so many nice, promising young guys. And, yeah, it's definitely D'Lo for Levine, straight up. Who says no?
oh man, you know what? At this point, if he's a good tank commander. So I don't.
He is. He's coming off the books pretty soon too.
Oh, true. You
I
know
think it's like a
what?
2-year contract, and it's they overpaid him a little bit so that he was like a contract that they could package as being like, hey, 30 mil off the books next year. I don't know what to tell you, man.
They gotta have somebody. Oh, give me Demoy Hodge, and then we'll call it even.
Perfect. Household name Demoy Hodge. You got a deal. All right. Moving on. Phoenix, the Phoenix Suns. I have them in a state of shock because their big three finally played well together in an entire game for what felt like the first time this season. How you feeling about the Suns?
I said they're in a state of disinformation, and I say that because Woj came out and he said people are saying Kevin Durant's unhappy, and everyone I believed it because you know why? He's unhappy all the time. And then it turns out he's probably not unhappy. He came out and said, "This is BS. I'm not. I'm happy." And but I think, and he did say that like the entire time when he was leaving the Warriors, he's like, you guys don't know I'm leaving the Warriors, but we all knew he was leaving the Warriors. But I think all indications are that he's still fine. Like there's not like bad body language. I guess he just had like one bad game, and then everyone's like, oh my god, the rumors are true. Um, but they're 4-0 in their last four. They beat Portland, Orlando, the Rockets, and the Mavs. Yeah, KD. It was fake news. He's okay. Bradley Beal is back. He had 110 for 13 game against who was it? Was it against Charlotte? It might have been, um,
Um,
or something like that. Or
I
no,
think it was. I don't know. It might have
because
been against the Magic.
who did he meet in a hallway? He met somebody in a hallway after the game, and yeah, they were talking. I forget. I feel like it was Brandon Miller, but I don't know. I don't even know if they played Charlotte recently, but Bull, he had that dunk. So
Cool dunk alert.
Bull is back. I get my phone gets blown up. How does this guy have this much social capital? He could but he might be able to make more as an influencer today if he just starts posting instead of being on Phoenix's bench. But yeah, they're basically in the same state. We've just been waiting for Bradley Beal to come back. He's back, and so it's looking good. It's looking better. We'll see if it looks upper echelon better.
Yeah, the game where all three of them played, I tried to take a lot away from it. I think Booker did not play like Booker caliber basketball. He played fine. I'll run through the stats real quick. KD 31 5 and 5 with 4 stocks, 67% true shooting. Beal 25 points and 2 assists, 85% true shooting. Booker 21 5 and 4 on 7 of 17 from the field. Nurkic 19 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. 50% true shooting, but 57% on 2-point shots. So, like a little bit better there. Still not exactly the efficiency that you want from a guy you're essentially just asking to finish plays, but it is what it is. And the entire team only turned the ball over 6 times. They did all that to beat the Magic, who shot 30% from 3 by 5 points. So, if I'm taking a big thing away from that Big 3 debut, it's the fact that right now this is not like the overwhelming offensive force that they need it to be in order to be able to like gloss over the roster construction defensive issues that are built into this team. And it could get to that point. This Beal performance moved me. 85% true shooting is insane. And if Booker can hit his ceiling at the same time as the other two, I think that like this could be that kind of offensive team. But I think that having that be like your approach to winning a playoff series is really hard. It doesn't feel like the recipe for a championship.
Yeah, it's they're Phoenix. They're Phoenix. You know what? Devin Booker, his father is Luca. That's not a good transition. Never mind. let's just, what's it called? Moving on from Phoenix to Dallas. I said the Dallas Mavericks are in a state of embarrassment. They lost to Utah, and they had Luca and they had Kyrie. What do you have? What do you have Dallas at?
Oh yeah, I have Dallas. A state of worry. Just like the Luca LeBron comparisons and him leaving, it looms heavily. It sits in my stomach if I'm a Dallas fan every year that we try and fail to put help around him. And like it's harder and harder to justify him not leaving. If you're looking at it from his perspective, that would worry me. The Utah Jazz loss was embarrassing. It's also embarrassing they lost to the Cavs. No Mobley, Garland, or Mitchell. It was literally like Strus, Jared Allen, and the fucking Craig Porter, baby. Yeah, it's not been good in Dallas, and it would worry me.
Did they have Luca and Kyrie for that game?
It was just Luca, but to be honest, like Luca and supporting cast, they should still be able to win.
And it's crazy because he's still playing out of his mind. I think, it feels like he may not escape the fraud allegations this year. I don't know how the fraud allegations exist. People are like, they just ignore watching him or looking at any stat sheet of any game he's ever been in, and they just see the end result, and it's like the equivalent of a pitcher throwing like a perfect game shutout all the way until the 9th inning. Then he gives up a game-winning home run and loses 1-0, and they're like, "That guy's trash. He lost in the game." It's like, okay. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm optimistic that they'll still figure it out because I do like a lot of their pieces, but I wonder if there are any moves for them to make to bolster this defense even more.
Draymond Green. Whoa, what was that? There's a breeze outside. Oh, that's scary. Draymond Green. Whoa.
Oh, I wonder what they would have to give up.
I don't know. It would be hard. I haven't thought about it at all. I'm just thinking about like the fit and everything. Yeah. This whole season between Luca and Trey has kind of shaken my faith that was not already super solid in the idea of heliocentrism, which I know even like Trey in Atlanta has been getting more and more off ball, like compared to the past several seasons where he was just doing like every single thing for Atlanta. But yeah, when you look at like the really good teams around the league right now, none of them are like playing this style of offense. And I don't think that's a fault of Luka. I think it's more of a fault of like the way they've built it for him to do absolutely every single thing. I think he could play off the ball with like more help or just like share the ball with other guys. I don't think he's limited to just this one style of play. But like the way that he and Trey have both been having, by all accounts, career years and just like are treading water or slowly moving backwards at this point. It's not great. It's not a great argument for the cause.
I wonder if they're because they're both good enough offensively and their teams are good enough offensively. I wonder if the cost of heliocentrism is just your teams are worse defensively because they are like because everyone's like I'm not really into defense when I don't touch the ball as much and even
Yeah.
so like both these guys are great passers. And they find all their teammates, and so all their teammates get the ball. But I wonder if there is a level of engagement to where like I don't get to dribble at all, but well then I don't want to do anything. I wonder if there's any kind of link or if it is just as simple as like the Hawks roster, like just not really defenders on the roster, and Dallas, maybe just not enough defenders. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's too early for rookie Lively. I don't know.
Yeah.
They got questions. Also, Luca, the on-off numbers. He is interesting in that he's kind of like DeMar DeRozan, where I believe I would have to double check. I believe like uh or maybe not his teams are better with him off the court, but I think his teams have always still been good with him off the court. And so that part is interesting. But also this year they have Kyrie. So I don't know. I don't know. I got a lot of thoughts floating around that I have not plucked out specifically and marinated with.
Ooh, yummy. All right. Little, I don't know, little like seared thought kebab on the grill, something like that. Sounds good. Grilling. You know where it's nice to grill? California. Sunny California. Sacramento, California, even. What are your
Mm,
thoughts on the Sacramento Kings?
I said they're in a state of swag. They're 2-2
Oh,
in
I
their
like
last
that.
four, but they have that crown. Have you seen they give out the crown? I
Uh-huh.
don't know what exactly do they give out the crown for. Is it the best defensive player, or just like the player of the game? But they have the cool crown they give in the locker room. I also saw they have a chain that they give out in the locker room. So they got some swag. They got the beam. They got the ice. What else do they need?
Um, Probably like a championship caliber ceiling would be
Mm,
chill.
maybe
On top of
Siakam.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, 2-2 in their last four. The losses to and they're both big bad losses. They're pretty substantial in terms of like blowouts. Wolves, totally understandable. The Timberwolves are good. Blown out by the Portland Trailblazers. A little bit more concerning. A little bit I don't love that, even though I know we're giving props to Simons and everybody. They are good. I don't love that. However, the wins are like on the opposite end of the spectrum. Pretty impressive. They fucking smoked the Grizzlies with Jaws. We already talked about, and then they came back from 23 down against the Atlanta Hawks to win the game, which you shouldn't be down 23 to the Hawks if you're a team that's trying to win a title. But if this were Denver or Minnesota or Boston or Philly or Milwaukee, I would probably give them the benefit of being like, if you got to win the ugly games if you're a championship contender. You can't only blowouts. So I will give that to Sacramento here as well. Um, this roster does feel like it needs to be shaken up if they want to be serious. Shout out to Kevin Herter, Red Velvet, 35% from three is like an unplayable number for him just because he does like so little else out there at like a really positive level. And then Harrison Barnes, I get it. He's like an emotional fulcrum of team, especially looking at the fucking Reddit. These people will go to the wall for him. But like having him be like a pretty bad defender at a very instrumental position while routinely being a non-factor on offense, does not feel like it does a ton in the way of helping the Kings win basketball games. He's a microwave scorer. He's a 40% three-point shooter most nights, but there is a lot more you can get out of a small forward than that.
Yeah, that's where they're at. You know where I'd rather be in California than Sacramento? I'd rather be in LA, and I'd rather be with the Clippers. They're still looking good. They're three. Oh, wait, I miswrote that. Wait, no, I didn't. They're 3-1 in their last four. Their state. I said they're in a state of holding their breath because Kawhi got hurt, but now he's back. They lost to the Celtics. They got torched by the Celtics, 145-108. But they beat Charlotte, they beat the Grizzlies, they beat the Heat. Kawhi returned, so we're maintaining course. A Clipper is a ship, right? They're
Yes.
they're still sailing on course. There was a man fell overboard, but they were able to throw the buoy out and rescue him. And so they're still on course. So which they originally at the beginning of the season they were heading towards off a waterfall, and then they're like, no, turn it around. And so now they're heading towards Vinland.
Swag, hell yeah. Beautiful flowing grassy fields and the whatnot. To run with your analogy, I would say not just a man fell off the boat, the captain fell off the boat.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, if we don't fucking get this guy, we're probably heading right back to that waterfall, to be honest. And I don't know if they would get back down to like that level of competition again. James Harden's been really good, and their roster has kind of sorted itself out. But it does feel like this recent stretch has been a good microcosm of like what the Clippers are going to be come, March, April, May, June, which is if you have Kawhi, you're probably one of the 5, 6-ish best teams in the league, and you have several guys who are capable in the playoffs, including one of the best players on the planet pretty much every time he's played in the postseason since he won the title in Toronto. Kawhi is routinely very good on that stage. If you don't have him, Paul George was good in the playoffs last year. James Harden, you're kind of just praying that he can maintain what he does in the regular season. And then, yeah, I don't know. If you don't have Kawhi, you don't have that ceiling with the Clippers.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's move. Yep. Yeah. Real hot take. We're cranking them out. Kawhi, good, and the Clippers bad without him. Denver. Ooh, I like Denver. It's not been like the most fun to watch them recently. Embarrassing loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Are they in a state of embarrassment?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's say that. They're in a state of embarrassment. Just because, well, actually, they're in a state of dogs because Aaron Gordon got attacked by his dog. So yeah, that was fucking crazy. But he's back now. Shout out to AG. Embarrassing loss to Oklahoma City. 9-0 in their last 9 games where they don't play the Thunder. 9-2, 2 losses to the Thunder. Yeah, the Thunder are a seriously good basketball team. We'll get to them in a second. The Nuggets have just struggled to bring their A game against good teams this season. They have absolutely sleptwalked to whatever. 15-0 record against below 500 teams this season. They had a pretty brutal record as far as like travel and back-to-back games goes. And this OKC blowout was on the second night of a back-to-back, and I think it was on the road, if I'm not. No, it was in Denver, which doesn't help. But yeah, sucks that they lost to OKC. This is a very Miami situation where it's just kind of like, do they still have that level that they hit in the playoffs last year? Because if they do, that's probably the best team in the league. But right now, it would be hard to argue they have played like the best team in the league, or even one of the 3 best teams in the league so far throughout this regular season.
Yeah, I said they're in a state of vulnerability, and so this is very intricate wording from me. This is very literary Shakespeare rhetorical device-esque because this works on multiple levels. So they're in a state of vulnerability because, they're getting beat by the Thunder, and they're like, wait a second, we're the guys on top. How come we can't beat these guys? Should we be worried about these guys? Are we not the top? They're in a state of vulnerability because Aaron Gordon got his hand munched up by his Rottweiler, and it was his dog apparently, but it's his dog that his dad takes care of or someone else takes care of. So the dog probably doesn't know he's Aaron Gordon's dog.
Yeah.
And I wonder what was Aaron Gordon doing? He was probably trying to play with it, and then it munched up his hand. Not great. Um, and then a state of vulnerability because Jokic finally went on a podcast. He went on the Curious Mike podcast, Michael Porter Jr.'s podcast. I gotta admit, I thought that podcast was mid. I thought there's no chance that this guy could be a good interviewer, but he actually got a. I still didn't listen to the full thing of that yet either, but he actually did get a pretty good interview with Jokic. And he said a lot of interesting, cool things. Or he said, "I hate being a celebrity." He's talking about you. He's like, "I hate people have my name in their username. That's the worst kind of
Oh,
crap."
jeez. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I have heard some sound bites from it, and it rocks to hear him talk. I've never heard him say like so many words in a row while smiling. All of his longest like press answers are like, uh, "I'm legally required to do this by my contract, and like you guys are all making me really mad, and I'm tired and I want to go home." But like this was fun. It was nice, and it was cool to see him talk about like he met his wife. I thought it was very insightful to his answer about like what he liked most about winning the NBA championship was how happy it made everybody at home and the fans. And I think that's why I don't like really. I guess I do understand why people are like, "Oh, I'm sick of the I don't love basketball shtick." 'Cause, like, if you pay attention to Jokic, he does like basketball. He likes it a lot. He just hates all of fame, like being the center of attention, and that comes along with it. And so, yeah, whenever he gets asked about like, oh, what do you do that makes you so special and unique and great? He's like, fuck, I don't know. But Michael Porter Jr. was good at asking questions that don't really point him in that direction, and it's a good listen. I haven't given it a full listen either. But I have given it a little bit, and yeah, he's fun. It's good. And yeah, Denver. I don't know. Not a whole lot to say in terms of uh, like OKC would give him a good series. Minnesota would give him a good series. I can't say who would come out on top right now. Pretty clearly, like a top tier team in the league. But as defending champions, and especially knowing like how championship hangovers happen and how you can kind of move into the postseason a little bit lackadaisical because of it, it's not where you would expect or want them to be. As speaking as a Denver fan, I'm sure if you're an Oklahoma City fan or a Minnesota fan, you're fucking happy as a clam right now. So let's move to Oklahoma City. How you feeling about them?
One last thing on Jokic. People need to realize you can't accidentally become that good at basketball. If you're the best player in the world, that can't happen if you hate basketball. It can't happen. Like you can't get to the level where you're making shots from every part of the court. You can do literally everything on a basketball court. That does not happen if you hate basketball. But with OKC, they don't hate basketball either. They're 4-0 in their last four. I said they're in a state of jubilant youth. They've beaten the Timberwolves. They've beaten the Nuggets. They've beaten the Knicks. They've beaten the Nets. Shea averaged 32, 5, and 7 on 65% true shooting in December. If you go look at his past 10 games, it's just a big mass of 30, blah, blah, like 7. And he had 65% true shooting while shooting 27% from three. So this is the most prolific rim attacker in the league right now. Maybe outside of like Giannis or something. But I'm at the point where I might be able to walk into a playoff series and be like, okay, Jokic is on the other end. I have Shea. We might be able to win this. He's just so good. I think he's a superstar. The rest of this team, Chet is one of the greatest defensive rookies we've ever seen. Jalen Williams is spectacular. Um, this team, there's been a lot of trade talks with them, and I would not make a move if I were them. Like I would not trade for Laurie or anybody else because number one, I don't think Lowry puts you into surefire contention. Like if we're looking at like OKC versus Denver right now, like if you just add Markkanen to the Thunder, it doesn't doesn't like change how I feel about the series too much. I'm not immediately like the Thunder win this now. And I
Mm-hmm.
think if they just held out with all those assets, if they held out, there is a chance they could get a guy like that. Like if I added Joel Embiid to this team, I'd be like, okay, that's a problem. If I added whoever else gets upset and becomes available, if you add Luca to this team, I don't know whoever will ask out. So if I'm them, I'm gonna wait because I think there will be better players to trade for later on. And I also want to see how this roster, as currently constructed, does in the playoffs because they're already like top what are they top three in both offense and defense, top five, something like that. They're really really good right now. And so I want to see what the pressure points are in
Okay.
the playoffs. I want to see what other teams identify as their weakness and what they can try and break them with, because then I think that gives you um, a more concrete idea of what you need to trade for, what problems you need to address.
Yeah. I can take a shot in the dark right now. If they're still leaning on Josh Giddey this heavily in the playoffs, pedophile accusations aside, that is going to be a pretty strict. Like, that's it. That's the gap in the elite play as far as I'm concerned. If you're like a defense looking at them, you're like, when Giddey has the
Yeah.
ball in his hands, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We can take a breath, take a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm right there. I'm right there with you on SGA and like him in a playoff setting. He did really well against Minnesota. I didn't get to watch the whole game. He went 14 to 16 from 2 point range there. But like versus Denver, specifically in like a Denver matchup, he would be a fucking nightmare to guard. He scored 40 on 82% true shooting against Denver. He went 2 or 3 from three, and literally everything else felt like it was like a turnaround, fancy footwork, fadeaway mid range jumper that just like swirled around the rim and went in still. And I mean, KCP guarded him well. KCP is one of the better guard defenders in the NBA. They have a variety of like solid defensive players to help or whatever. But I mean, when you have the tough shot making ability that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has mastered, it doesn't like having that like quality help defense doesn't really matter as much as it would against like Anthony Edwards last season. That help defense was tough. It made his life really hard. I don't think it would do the same thing to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now, and I think he's just gonna be a fucking nightmare for whoever catches him in the postseason. And then yeah, I said Chet and J-Dub with him round out. I don't know if you consider 25 young, but like him, Chet, J-Dub, average 23 years old, clear best young trio in the league, like one of the best threes in the entirety of basketball. And yeah, I don't know. I want Lowry on this team. I am one of those guys, but at the same time, what you're saying is like outside of my caveman ape brain, correct. That doesn't make him like an overwhelming favorite to win a series against anybody. It makes him better, but yeah, if you could add Luca or Embiid or anyone who gets unhappy of that caliber to the team, you have the assets to do so, and you have all your guys on a young rookie contract, and you're not like paying anybody a ton. So yeah, I just think if you're not looking at Giddy, oh shit, your festive headgear. If you're not looking at Giddy as the like hole in the defense or hole in the offense, I suppose you're probably looking at like rebounding, and that's where Denver really had a lot of success in their first matchup, as opposed to the last two. Was like Denver's size really gave them problems on the boards. Like they could not get rebounds on either end of the floor, and it made Denver's life pretty easy. In the last matchup where they beat Denver the fuck up, it was like a swarming, gang oriented rebound. It looked like, especially with Jokic, it was like he was the only guy going for offensive rebounds. Then it was like four guys way smaller than him who somehow managed to pull the board down. And yeah, I think that's probably the other approach. And I feel like Lowry helps with that. But at the same time, Lowry's not like a force of a rebounder. He's just like a pretty good one, and like completely giving up all these assets that you've structured this decade around amassing for Lowry Markkanen. I get that that's probably not the move you want to pull.
When Kevin Durant, when there was the reports about him being upset, there was some talk about, hey, maybe Kevin Durant to OKC return. I had that thought. I was like, oh, that would actually be cool. I think he could fit in with this team. I went to the Oklahoma City Thunder subreddit. They do not want him back. They still hate his guts. They still call him a cupcake. They still call him a snake. They say, yeah, of course he'd want to come back now that we're up. That snake. They don't want him back. So that's probably, I wonder if that will ever happen. I thought it could happen. I thought the feelings have subsided. They had not. This OKC team, the fans are like, guess what? You guys couldn't get it done. Young trio, Westbrook, Harden, Durant. This one will. So,
What's funny is like Kevin Durant's probably the only player in the league who like that might actually impact it if like OKC's like we'll trade for you. He's like, dude, check your fucking Reddit. I'm not playing for you guys.
yeah,
Everybody's an
really.
asshole to me on there. Golly, yeah. That's surprising. I don't know. It's not surprising. Basketball fans are stupid and petty and emotional. So I guess it makes a little bit of sense. It's pretty on par. Moving on, the cream of the crop in the West, even though they can't handle the Tibbs, OG Anunoby pairing. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves. How are you feeling about them?
I said they are in a state of maintenance, and so they're 2-2 in their last four. Lost to OKC, win versus Mavs, win versus Lakers, lost to the Knicks. And so things are just looking good. They're maintaining they're like they started off the Tour de France and in the first position, and they're still there. We're on day, I don't know how many days that is. We're in day 2, let's say, and they're still there.
Okay.
They Mike, shout out Mike Conley. Mike Conley's having an insanely efficient season. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists per game on 46, 46, 94 shooting, 64% true shooting. Just a really good piece for them. And shout out to ownership. Glenn Taylor is about to be officially gone. They've been selling this team in like increments, and I guess as of December 31st, Alex Rodriguez and the other guy who's with him, they're officially controlling owners of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Hell
So,
yeah.
you know what that means? That means there's going to be a Kevin Garnett jersey retirement soon because I think he said he would not do it as long as Glenn Taylor was owner of the Timberwolves. Now he's out. KG return. And then also, they have the wacky assistant coach, Micah Nori. He says wacky things. He says more turnovers than a bakery and stuff like that. So they're doing what they have been doing. They're maintaining. Oh,
Yeah.
also one thing I want to talk about is Anthony Edwards' shot selection. So he takes too many mid-range jumpers. He's a career high of his offense is coming from the mid-range. He's taking more mid-range jumpers than ever, but he's not shooting well on these mid-range jumpers. So I think there has to be a conversation of chill out, get to the rim. He's shooting 71% of the rim. If you just focus on the rim and focus at 3, you could be even better than you are because he is scoring a lot, but I believe he is at league average or he might be -1 because league average this year is 58% true shooting. He the next scoring leap he's going to have to take is, I think, cutting out that mid range. But also, some people would argue he needs the mid range for the playoffs. But I'd say I don't know. If you're not good at it, don't take it as much. But I don't know. I think we're still not at fully realized Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that, and I get, yeah, I would probably cool off on the mid range as well, just because he is a force of nature as like a 3-point shooter slasher combo. It's like a nightmare to guard him. I don't know. I think my big takeaways from their play lately, I'm not worried about them, but I do want to see like a real dominant stretch from them again. I was having fun when they were doing that, and it was exciting, and it just seems like they've kind of stalled lately. I think the Cat performance, he cooked at the end of the Knicks game. He was going hard. But defensively, Julius Randle was going right at him, and I feel like that is probably the in terms of Minnesota's defense is if you have a guy who can exploit the Karl Anthony Towns matchup, that would be really good. However, there aren't that many guys in the league. There aren't that many guys in the Western Conference. If you're someone like Jokic, you're going to have to be dealing with both of them at the same time and not Reed. And so, yeah, I don't know, the offensive ceiling of the entire team when they go up against a team that can effectively score on the defense that has gotten them to this point, that's the question. Can they go like bar for bar in a shootout with someone who can score on them effectively? I'm not going to say like they're going to get lit up for 130 points or anything, but if a team can average 115, 120 against Minnesota, is that a series that Minnesota would be able to win right now? I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like they're kind of leaning pretty heavily on the Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan comparison, and then like Karl Anthony Towns, who has been really good, Mike Conley, all that. But yeah, I don't know. It's to be determined, and I think it would like you're in luck because Anthony Edwards is still ascending. So even if that proves to be an issue here in this postseason, it's not like your Phoenix championship or bust right now. You can kind of retool in the off season and figure out the best balance between like a really good defensive team and a team that can support your generational superstar offensively.
Yeah, they think they're good, but they could be better. They can always be better.
Hell yeah. Such a Midwest fucking response to this. Just like, it's fine. I don't know. Could be better, Could be better. Oh man. All right. That's the West, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the second episode. I'll put both these out for free. This is like a teaser tester. Go listen to all Pablo's shit on Hot Tunes TV China NBA. Go check me out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. What's like a really outdated social media?
MySpace.
MySpace.
Napster.
You can follow me on Quibi. I'm putting out shit on Quibi these days. So Quibi, the 15-minute film accent. All right. Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace, 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 peace.